Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Nikjojo, and today we have a new episode of my series where I attempt to analyze stock and learn from the best Gangplank players from around the world. And for today's episode, we have the best Gangplank player from Brazil. Currently at rank 41 on the solo queue ladder, Hydrogen is a challenger 652 LP Gangplank God. For today's game, Hydrogen will be versing the one and only MMD, the top laner for the Flash Wolves, a team that achieved first place in the IEM 2017 World Championship and is currently playing in MSI 2017. Similar to Monkey, the best Korean Gangplank player, Hydrogen nearly never takes cooldown reduction in his rune pages and almost always takes defensive runes for nearly every matchup he's against. With a standard page of attack damage reds and quints, magic resist blues and armor yellows, he should have a respectable laning phase, especially when against Galio for his matchup today. As for his mastery page, his setup is highly similar to what Monkey and most Koreans use for their standard Gangplank rune pages. The most important parts of this rune page, the Keystone Mastery, Thunderlord's Decree, along with the Bandit 10 gold per auto attack gold generation, which works incredibly well with Gangplank's Q, and the single point in Meditation Mana Regen Mastery, which allows for a few more Gangplank Qs and Ws during the entirety of the laning phase. Now Hydrogen is a player that I've noticed plays quite aggressively, similar to Monkey as well. Actually, most of the top rated Gangplank players that I watch do tend to play a bit more aggressively. It's a style that I like using as well. Okay, different than Monkey. What Hydrogen is doing is I think he wants to hit level 2 first and simply have control over the because what happens is when you Q the enemy Galio, and especially if the enemy has a big minion wave, they switch aggro, because you know every time you Q an enemy it counts as a basic attack, and as soon as you basic attack an enemy champion, the enemy minions will start attacking you, and if you're level 1 to level 2, that does a massive amount of damage. So what I'm guessing Hydrogen wants to do is, with that early quick auto attack on the minions, he wanted to get a fast level 2 on the enemy, MMD. But sadly, it looks like it didn't work out too well. Because Galio's burst, as a top laner and as a tank, Galio's burst is actually incredibly high. If he manages to land his dash onto Gangplank, or in this case Junkrat, if you guys have noticed, looks like Hydrogen is using a custom skin for Gangplank. So for Junkrat, if Galio lands his dash on really any squishy top laner, he does massive amounts of damage. And since we know Gangplank is a squishy laner, Galio is going to do a lot of damage on this Gangplank. It's not going in his favor right now. It's not going in Hydrogen's favor. It's going to be a rough laning phase. It's going to be a classic rough laning phase for Hydrogen. And since this is like Challenger 600 LP, he's playing with Challenger and Master players on the enemy team, I suspect that he's going to get towered over at some point. It only makes sense. So we got to watch out for how Hydrogen plays that out. Notice how MMD's Galio used his teleport really fast. About 4 minutes into the game. Just use... There we go, triple Doran's Ring. Okay, now Gangplank isn't going to build any Doran's items, so essentially Hydrogen is going to give up his entire laning phase right now just to work towards a Triforce like he did. So he got a Sheen item, which is great. But compared to a Galio, he has next to no laning phase against the enemy Galio right now. Triple Doran's Ring, obviously. Doran's Ring is an early game item, and triple of that on a tank top laner with that much burst, we're going to see a passive. I expect Hydrogen to play this laning phase highly passively. Yeah, notice how he's just taking the very last hits. Just stopped away from pushing in. Because if he does, if a big problem that I noticed when I first started out playing Gangplank was I'd find myself pushing in the lane, and the enemy would just end up freezing. What happens is if the enemy ends up freezing the lane on their side, you can be immensely screwed over because, you know, Gangplank has no escape. And to have it be frozen on the enemy side of the lane is not good. That's why he's just completely last hitting the minions right now at the very last second. And naturally he can lane against a triple Doran's Ring Galio, so there is that. I didn't hit the ring. Oh, I did. I think it goes without saying that since... Well, it goes without saying for me, but for most of the newer Gangplank players, the reason why we go Thunderlord's Decree a lot of the times is, and why Thunderlord's Decree generally has a higher win rate than Grasp of the Undying, is because Grasp of the Undying is a harder mastery to use. Because you need to play super aggressive, and playing aggressive, it's kind of tricky for new Gangplanks. But TLD, another good point about a defensive Gangplank, like in this lane, Hydrogen knew he had to play defensive against a Galio. Because Galio... What am I saying, Galio? Hydrogen knew he had to play defensive against a Galio. So... Thunderlord's Decree, if he's trying to ult, if he's ulting across the map, just simply does Thunderlord's Decree proc. Because on his ultimate, essentially like doubles the first wave of damage of your ultimate, which helps you snag more kills. Which is great if you're playing defensive. I expect a tower dive. Yeah. Unlucky. That was good. MMD got a bit unlucky right there. You could tell from the way he was walking up that... Oh, sorry, I got a bit of a cold. You could tell from the way Galio was just walking up to the turret that... And noticing how LeBlanc was missing from the mid lane, that he was going to get tower dove. He just got lucky right there. With Ivern being close by. Stop the tower dive. Or otherwise Hydrogen would have been wrecked pretty hard if it weren't for the Ivern. He has a red buff right now. He has Sheen and a Phage. If Hydrogen uses his barrels well, he could kill Galio. Very good. Whenever you have your passive up and you think you can run it on the enemy, just go run in and apply it and run away, like we did right there. You should get this kill. Ulti? There we go. Yeah. Here's a little tip for you guys. Let's rewind it a little bit. You see this combo right here? This combo right here. Galio slowed down, run in, just auto attack him once, and then apply the passive, and then run back away again. That's a really good combo for the laning phase Gangplank, especially if you don't want to all in an enemy. Play of the game. Junkrat. A 10-minute Trinity Force, that is amazingly good. Setting up for a really, really good game. Gangplank's only just going to scale harder from here, so this is great. Considering we know that Hydrogen is a Gangplank god. It looks like the game is in the bag for him. Notice, let's go back to that again. Galio building 3 Doran's rings. Let's go back to that again. Galio building 3 Doran's rings. Great combo. Galio building 3 Doran's rings. Notice how even though Galio built 3 Doran's rings and it worked out for him, he sacrificed a lot of, you know, item builds later on because, you know, Doran's ring doesn't scale. Galio bought the 3 Doran's ring hoping to abuse Hydrogen's Gangplank in the laning phase, but Hydrogen's wave management, having the wave on his side and not pushing it out, you know, remember I was talking about hitting the minions at the last second, and just simply put it like this. If you a quick tip to managing waves in the top lane, if your wave is bigger than the enemy's wave and it looks like it's going to be pushing in and you don't want the enemy freezing, just try your best to use your abilities and just push in the wave so that it pushes in really fast into the enemy tower. After it goes into the enemy tower, it's naturally going to bounce back into your wave. It can go back and forth like that, bouncing between towers. But you can slow down the bounce backs if you just if you pay attention to it, because a lot of detail goes into wave management. So coming back to MMD and building 3 Doran's ring, it wasn't that effective against the Gangplank. Why? Because Hydrogen's wave management was great, so much so that the minion wave was almost always on his side of the top lane, so he had nothing to fear from Galio tower diving him, except that one time where he almost got tower dove. He gets very lucky with his ultimates. Hydrogen can really just go for the tower here. Just ignore the rest of his team, just drop ultimates around the place. And the only time he's gonna teleport, usually Gangplanks just take teleport in the top lane. Just for the early parts of the laning phase, as you notice, because you get bullied in pretty easily. But the only time you should be teleporting to the other side of the map as Gangplank is when you have like there's a clear, pretty damn obvious opportunity to kill the enemy. So I don't see him teleporting anywhere else on the map unless it's pretty damn easy to snag a kill. For now, he has a Trinity Force, and Gangplank is one of the best tower takers in the game. I mean, he takes it down fast. Compared to something like a Tryndamere, well, Tryndamere is better at taking towers in my opinion. But Gangplank can take it down much faster than a Tryndamere, for example, a classic split pusher. Or even a Jax. I think Gangplank can take, Gangplank can definitely take down towers faster than a Jax, so Hydrogen's naturally working towards getting the first tower in the top lane. After he takes down the tower in the top lane, he's just going to simply move on to other lanes. That's what I expect him to do. Like, I noticed in lower elos, the people after they take the tower, they've built a lead and they've taken the tower in the top lane, they just simply push on to like the tier 2 tower down over here, when they shouldn't be doing that. After they take this tower here, if the enemy's tower is still up over here, it's better to just completely ignore your top lane and just run down and try your best to take down this turret. Or you can just go mid and try to take down mid turret. There's no point just after taking the tower here to just keep staying up here. Here's something interesting. Like I said, if it's only... Oh, that was a great combo. I like how he's fluid with his movements. Yeah, that's a bitch. Playing against a Caitlyn is just really flippin' annoying as a Gangplank, especially if she builds rapid fire cannon. She can auto it. You'll try your best to land a double barrel combo on her, but she can auto attack the barrels from a mile away. That's another good tip right there, I think. Look at what he did right here. Sometimes you can simply use your barrels as a zoning tool. To drop it right in front of where the enemy is going to be. Look at this barrel right here. As soon as he dropped the barrel leading in front of the enemy, she just walks the other way. There isn't an example of it in this game, but what happens is, especially when you're in the top lane and you've run out of barrels, you can simply just juke the enemy or maneuver the enemy in such a way as if they're running away from you and you don't have like two barrels, you just have one barrel. Sometimes you can just drop that one barrel ahead of them and they just end up skirting around the outsides. This doesn't work on every enemy, but it works quite a few times actually. Simply using your barrels to zone out an area, that's all it is. Using your barrel to like zone out a simple area. This works really well against enemies who have slow auto attacks, because they're usually the ones who won't go for the attempt to auto attack your barrel. Karma has a slow auto attack, that's why she edged out when she was bot lane. When Hydrogen was bot lane. Got a bit unlucky right there. Unlucky, dude. If I were Hydrogen right now, this is interesting. Like I mentioned earlier about not going back top lane, just taking the mid lane tower. I think he rather just wanted to go for the gold. But yeah, optimally I felt like he should have gone mid lane to take the tower instead of running top lane. He really just did it for the gold, I'm guessing. No, my mistake, my mistake. He pushed the top lane because of the dragon objective. No. Ah, that's the difference between me and him, huh? Master tier player versus a challenger Gangplank. So yes, the reason why he pushed the top lane right there was for his team to take dragon. He got the timing. He got the perfect, impeccable timing on that. Enemy team had to send 2 people up to top lane, so they had to give up dragon. There isn't really a good teleport for Gangplank right there. Like I mentioned, if he wants to use his teleport, he wants to be sure that he gets something out of it. But look how fast Gangplank takes down turrets. Might as well just take this turret right here. He can split push with Gangplank mainly because he doesn't have to fear of anyone on the enemy team, just because the only person he has to fear is LeBlanc on the enemy team. He can take down the Galio. He can take down the Galio 1v1 pretty easily. LeBlanc's slow. He can get her. Unlucky, he took a bit too much damage. You should have just straight off run away. But let's look at what he does actually. Let's go a bit back and look at how he pulls that off. And I understand why he did what he did. The simple land barrel to slow down the graves. The one auto attack to apply your passive, because your passive gives you movement speed boost. And then run away. Actually, I'm assuming he didn't expect that much damage from a Graves. I think that was the first 1v1 against the Grave that he had this game, so He wasn't expecting that damage from the Graves. But he was 6-1 and the Graves was, what, 3-1? No, 0. Yeah, the Graves was 0-3 and he was 6-1. I'm assuming he didn't expect that much damage from the Graves. So is he gonna do it? The Gangplank Baron steal? Oh, this is juicy. Oof, unlucky. Caitlyn's auto attacks can really screw over a Gangplank. Feels Batima. Is that the Brazilian version of Feels Badman? Looks like he's not doing anything more than just split pushing. I guess that's how he plays Gangplank differently. He split pushes a lot with Gangplank. Or maybe it's just this one game. Because as long as it's against the Galio, he has no trouble 1v1ing. As long as the little Blanc doesn't come in, he should be good to go. That's great. From his micro movements, you can tell he's a really good Gangplank player. Oh, wow. Holy shit, dude. Let's watch that again. This is a good trick to learn. Wow, look at all the moves he pulls off in one go. Let's slow that down actually. This is pretty cool. Let's slow this down. A bit further from here. So first of all, he baits the Caitlyn. He baits the Caitlyn down. Drops the master. Manages to keep. He pulled off like a number of things right there. The immediate RE, always dropping down an E immediately once his previous barrels have ticked out, or he's used a barrel, he immediately drops down another barrel. Just constantly ticking it down. If you're in a 1v1 battle against an enemy, it's always important to remember to always use your barrels. Sometimes people forget to use their barrels. That's kind of silly. And you only see that with low ELO Gangplanks, really. But obviously, Hydrogen. Wow, he just went to max health. Yeah, as long as you're in a 1v1, just make sure you make complete use of your barrels. Like dropping an ultimate, pressing R and then E immediately after. He's gone. Since he's not running 10% cooldown reduction in his runes, he needs another 10% cool. He doesn't always go for complete 40%, but actually, I've noticed that a high win rate Gangplank build on OPGG is Triforce Yumu's and Moth Malmortius. Moth Malmortius, a bit underrated, especially in NA. Not many people like building it on Gangplank, but it is a great item. It's passive, you know, the one that gives you more attack damage after you drop to like 30% health. It gives you more attack damage and lifesteal and spell vamp. That ability itself allows you to, if you ever get low, it gives you massive amounts of healing, which is great. The constant LeBlanc chase. That was some fast damage. I think one important note is how he nearly never uses triple barrel combos. Just single barrel and double barrel combos, that's it. If he can pull off, he never seems to use, similar to Monkey that we saw in the previous game, in my previous analysis, never bothers to use triple barrel combos. Triple barrels means you gotta use 3 barrels on cooldown, and it's gonna leave you just standing there if you miss it with no barrels. Not really an effective combo. Because the more barrels you use in a chain, effectively the more barrels you waste. If you could have gotten the job done with just a simple double barrel combo. I think the biggest takeaways from watching Hydrogen play is again similar to how Monkey's playstyle of playing Gangplank. Really in the top lane, just about wave management. And getting your double barrel down and single barrel timings on point. That's all it is. Knowing your opponent, knowing your limits, knowing wave management, and not really going for the triple barrel combos. Like, I think the most we've seen Monkey in the previous episode was we saw Monkey going for one-part combos, really, and no triple barrel combos. Now, it might be a new basic thing for a new Gangplank player to learn triple barrel combo, but for the most part, it should just be single barrel and double barrel combos, and just getting your timings on point, because you wouldn't necessarily need to do pull off a triple barrel combo if you can just get off a double barrel combo with a perfect timing and not allowing the enemy to auto attack it down. So try to get your timings on point, even if you waste a barrel trying to do a double barrel combo. It's fine, because that it like mitigates the difference between a double barrel and a triple barrel combo, and giving up that one barrel in a failed double barrel combo is alright, because overall you should be better off doing double barrel over triple barrel. So that's what we can see with Hydrogen. He nearly never uses triple barrel, manages the wave, always keeps his farm up, plays it safe. Yeah, nothing more to it. It was just a clean, classic Gangplank game from a Challenger 600 LP player versus MMD, top laner for Flash Wolves. It was a good game. And that's all I have for you today, dudes. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode. Leave in the comments below if you have any suggestions for which region I should do next, or which specific Gangplank player I should do. But until then, thanks for watching, and have a good one.